Hey Leos, welcome to your Venus in retrograde reading, where we'll take a peek at what you can expect during this time period over the next couple of months or so. We're going to start by pulling an oracle card and see what the energy is that's surrounding this reading for you. So the first card that we have out for you is Devotion. Tune in to the portal of your heart. So it feels as though there's a lot of emotional work that's going to happen over the next 60 days or so during the Venus retrograde period for my Leos out there. It feels as though there is a sense of needing to honor what's in your heart and allow that to sort of guide your path going forward, and making sure that you always stay in tune with the messages that you are getting from that heart space, making sure that whatever it is that you're being led to, that you sort of stay committed to that, and also making sure that you stay committed to who you are and what it is that you want out of your own life, and creating this journey, this path that is in alignment with what it is that you truly desire. So I think so far it feels pretty good. I will admit that it does feel a little bit hesitant, but this is the third time that I have tried to start your reading, and the first couple of times I could not get the words out. It's like I knew what I wanted to say, but I could not, for whatever reason, articulate it. So it's like, let me just take a moment and start over so I can get this out in a coherent way. So maybe some of you all are having challenges with expressing yourself, being honest with yourself or other people, really just sort of stating what it is that you feel, how you're feeling about certain things. But let's get into some tarot and see what other messages we can get from Spirit for you. So first, we're going to look at what this retrograde has in store for you. What does retrograde have in store for my Leo collective? And what we have for you is the Hanged Man in reverse. Now, when the Hanged Man is upright, you'll notice that, he's kind of dangling there with one foot tucked behind the other. It shouldn't be the most comfortable position, but he looks fairly relaxed. And if you'll notice, he also has this halo of gold around his head, which can symbolize enlightenment, seeing things from a different perspective. The Hanged Man traditionally usually means also that you're sort of stuck, you're sort of stagnant, right? You're trying to figure out your way. And I think that for my Leo collective, having the Hanged Man in reverse is a little bit symbolic of you freeing yourself, sort of getting unstuck. You've started to look at things from a different vantage point, and maybe you're starting to think that you need to move in a different direction. Like maybe you've been having this series of aha moments that's like, I'm not doing the things that make me happy, or maybe I should try something different. So if you've been having a little bit of a conflict of head and heart, this might be you traveling a path now that you're listening to your heart more so than your head. And then we have another one that popped out, that flipped over, didn't notice it at first, but we have the Queen of Cups to clarify. And so I think that this card really ties in with having a different perspective, maybe following your heart more so than your head. With the Queen of Cups, she is very thoughtful. You see her gazing down at this cup here. And unlike any of the other court cards that have cups, the Queen has a lid on hers. And so this lid, I think, sort of symbolizes her ability to use discernment. When will she take the lid off to either give or receive emotions? She has the choice, right, to make for herself. And so her looking at the cup and doing a little bit of analysis and saying, is this right for me? Do I open up this cup to experience this, or do I leave it closed and figure it out later? So I think that there's a lot of awakening moments, Leo, that you're going to have over this time period, figuring out what it is that truly makes your heart happy, and then following that path. So in terms of any interruptions that this retrograde may cause for you, we have Justice, and we also have the Page of Swords. So this is an interesting combination because Justice is really about fairness, right? Having something work out in your favor. And with the Page of Swords, this is a little bit of my observer card. Pages are typically naive, immature energies. And so with the Page of Swords, they're trying to be thoughtful about things, right? They are doing a lot more observing and processing than they are with taking steps, with being action oriented as compared to some of the other pages. And so when you put the two of these together, I think that one of the challenges that you might experience is really embracing this different perspective, following your heart and your intuition, and figuring out what's going to be best for you. I think that when you sort of follow things only with your headspace, yes, you've been very, very thoughtful, but you might ultimately end up in a place that is not completely fair to you, where you are depriving yourself of some enjoyable moments that might otherwise come if you were to follow things a little bit more with your heart. Now, that's not saying that you go into things being reckless or being unconcerned with, potential consequences and things, but there's a nice balance to be had there. So making sure that you don't sort of keep yourself stagnant, right? Because you are having these aha moments. And because you may not have operated so much in the heart space before, there might be a little bit of resistance to incorporating that more into your life's journey. So an important shift that is going to happen during this time period, we have the Five of Swords in reverse. So this is an interesting card because it's really about, I think, winning at all costs is oftentimes how I interpret it. You have this person who's holding these three swords, and you have these two people that are walking away from him with these two swords laying on the ground. So it kind of indicates that there was a battle that was had, and this one came out victorious. The other people have laid down their swords. He's standing there with the wind blowing in his face and everything. He's the victor, but he doesn't necessarily seem particularly happy about it. And so I think that the way that you may have been operating before, Leo, is like that, through that very intellectual, strategic space where it's like, oh, I'm going to get this, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to win this. But then the question is, at what cost? What have you had to sacrifice in order to get that win? And I think that a big part of it has been sacrificing pieces of yourself, of your emotional well-being. And we have that clarified by the Knight of Swords. And so again, the Knight of Swords is the fastest moving knight in the deck, but it's a very fickle and very sort of scattered energy, right? So I think that the big shift that's going to happen here is that you are going to, I think, slow down a little bit, right? With the sort of thought processes that you have in achieving your goals, in sort of going after what it is that you want in life. You're no longer going to, just sort of be strapped for the battle, to hell with everybody else and to hell with yourself, in terms of how you're feeling about it. I think that there's going to be a lot more conscientiousness and a lot more honoring yourself, that your energy now is going to be a little bit more tempered. Maybe it'll be a little bit slower, but it's going to be expended in a way that doesn't just completely dismiss another part of you that's important. So something to be mindful of during this time period. We're starting out with the Page of Pentacles. So again, you have another sort of apprentice card, a little bit of naivete. The Page of Pentacles is really about those sort of tangible things that we have in our life. And this is someone who is starting to rebuild again, right? Who is starting to gain their grounding, their footing, finding their balance. And I do think that that's going to be a byproduct of balancing that head and heart space that we talked about a little bit earlier. And you're going to have a new beginning, right? You're going to have to do that in order to be able to move forward in the way that you want. Where I think that some of the steps in the path that you were on previously was a little bit stressful. You may have felt weighed down, by the expectations that you have for yourself, the expectations that other people had for you. It felt like there was a lot of hollow victories that you had achieved over time. It's like, yeah, you got whatever it is that you wanted, but in the end, it didn't necessarily feel joyful. It was like, okay, I got it. So what now? And so I think that, something that you should sort of keep an eye out for is making sure that as you rebuild, that you do it in a deliberate manner that's going to give you greater stability and fulfillment as you are going forward. I think that that's going to be your path to taking these next steps, something that's super joyous, something that's exciting, and something that feels a lot lighter than what you've been experiencing previously. Now, how this retrograde is going to help you on your journey going forward, because I do think that there's some lessons, to be had here. We're starting with the Four of Swords in reverse. Now, the Four of Swords is really about quiet. It's about taking a little rest. So I think that this is going to give you the opportunity to slow down and just recalibrate yourself. And then you will come to this awakening, right? Because we saw earlier that you're having these series of aha moments, that you're having these periods of enlightenment where you start seeing things in a different way, and you are starting to better honor yourself and what it is that you truly want. And look, we have the Four of Wands. That awakening is going to start opening new doors. It's going to open this 1111 gateway for you that is going to lend itself to better relationships, more stability, creating a foundation for this life that it is that you truly want in your heart, that you may have been inadvertently depriving yourself of for the sake of these victories in the meanwhile. So, I think that there's a lot of lessons here in honoring yourself, in nurturing yourself, making sure that you're balanced, and then taking the next steps into the next phase of your life. So that's what I got for my Leo Collective. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.